Hey guys, how are you? I'm back home and I'm here to do the extra advice by Ascendants. I have our 3 tarot cards from this week's weekly reading. I'm going to use this deck, the chakra deck, to ask what these wands are. So what the messages are, what the burdens are, what the actions are that will be coming in. And then I'm going to use this Osho deck to understand what's the sword. So what's that one sword of discernment? What do we need to remember in order to be discerning? And then what the divine guidance, divine reflection is that we need to consider in order to get these 8 into the 4. So in terms of our having options, having like with an LV, what needs to happen. So let's start with Aries Ascendant. So Aries Sun, that flipped very quickly. Okay. So these are about releasing. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, okay, I thought there might be 8 in there. So this is about releasing fears. So it seems to me that there's a lot of fear around Aries with Aries Ascendant for things that are coming in. Maybe fear that you can't handle them. Maybe fear that they're going to hurt you. Maybe fear that everything is moving too fast. Now let's figure out here for this King of Swords, what is the sword discernment energy that Aries Sun, Aries Ascendant should keep for this week, April 27th, 2019. What is the sword of discernment, mental discernment that they need to embody in order to, rebirth. Interesting. So this is kind of anything that comes to you that you're afraid of, you need to look at in terms of a transformation, right? So you might be afraid of these things, but you may need to face them. So as fears come in to you or your fears abound, step into that energy of I am becoming a new me, right? So maybe I need to actually try something new. Maybe I need to not be afraid of the new. Or maybe I need to let some of these things go. And so as you separate from the 8 to the 4, to not be afraid to lose half of what you have because it's part of a rebirth process. Okay, can I have divine wisdom of reflection for Aries Sun, Aries Ascendant for the week of April 27th, 2019. Divine reflection for the week of April 27th, 2019 for Aries Sun, Aries Ascendant. Open communication. Get a weight off your chest. Speak up with love and be heard. Okay, so maybe there's a relationship that needs to be reborn through conversation, through sifting over some of the things in the past and understanding what needs to stay and what needs to go. I'm going to pull these down a little bit. So it's also interesting here. It says there's rebirth and she's standing in a cemetery here. So there's something new that's trying to come in. That perhaps you haven't verbalized yet, that you're afraid of. I think this may be about getting a full expression of your fears, because it's when you face things that you release them. So coming to terms with your fears, looking at them in terms of a rebirth of who you are, walking out of this sort of mental prison into a new place through open communication of that which you have not said. So maybe you are afraid to tell someone that you love them, and that's exactly what needs, in order for a relationship to be reborn, that's what needs to happen. So I think someone needs to hear from you that you love them. Maybe a family, maybe a friend, maybe a relationship. Stop holding on to the fears about where that's going to go and speak with an open heart. Okay. Let's do Taurus. So, Aries Sun, Taurus Ascendant for the week of April 27th, 2019. May I have the card that represents the wands? I saw one flip. Okay. So, Taurus Ascendants are feeling guilty. Maybe there's some sense of all the things that shoulda, coulda, woulda. Maybe you feel like you gave up dreams to be of service to someone else. Maybe you feel guilty that you didn't pursue what you wanted to. There's this kind of shadowy figure here lurking in the background, and you see this image is split in two as well, which kind of goes with the whole halving theme. So it's almost like your normal self or your human self is at war with your shadow self. So these may actually be thoughts and doubts. It actually may just be too much work, that you have like too many things to do and you're not paying attention to your family. You may be, not as home as much as you like to. Okay, so that sword is the sword of morality. And that's interesting. Those talk to each other. That, sometimes we can get stuck, rigid thinking into what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. Actually, I think these are both swords here. So where are you and your sense of morality causing you to live in guilt? As I said, there's this sort of shadow side that's going off, and you may have created some very rigorous rules for yourself. Sorry, my technology's acting up. Second chapter. So yes, I was saying you may have created some rigorous rules for yourself that are causing you to put yourself into these sort of polarizing positions. And so I would say that the sword here is asking if you have done something that is considered amoral, that is causing you guilt, that needs to be looked at. If, however, this is sort of, you're putting yourself in kind of a prison, you see how that's like a prison grid there? A prison of your own making, that you are self-flagellating with these wands. Guilt is a very dangerous sensation because it's internalized, it's self-punishment, and that's actually the basis of how a lot of depression starts. It's the seed, because it leads to self-hatred. So if you've done something that you feel guilty about, the question is, what can you do about it to resolve it? And if you can't do anything about it, then I would say that, oh my God, I swear I didn't even see this. I was going to say you need to forgive yourself. I swear I didn't even notice this card. Okay, so yes, so what's going on here is that whatever you have done that you feel guilty about, that you can't do, if you can do something about it, then please do, because that will help alleviate these sensations. If there's nothing that you can do about what you've done, we are human, we all make mistakes. We can try and do better next time. You are being asked to forgive either yourself, or if someone else is causing this to you, to forgive them as well. That's the way to get out of these feelings of guilt. It says you're on a path of light, love, and forgiveness. Father healing is possible at this time. Oh, love that. Okay, let's do Gemini. So Gemini wands. I seriously, when those things happen with the tarot, I love it. Okay, for Gemini, what are the wands here for the week? Mysticism. Okay, so expanding into new territories, into new thoughts, very Gemini Ascendant. Some exploration into the unknown, unseen. Let's see what the sword is. What's the sword here for Aries Sun, Gemini Ascendant for the week of April 29th? No, April 27th, 2019. Aries Sun, Gemini Ascendant, please. What's the sword of discernment? Adventure. Ooh, fun. Walking off into the great unknown. So, you know, they're both kind of like these shrouded figures walking into a new chapter. So you may be entering into something that is new for you. You may be going into therapy. You may be studying a new mystic arts. You are walking into sort of well, you know, it's like this one, she's kind of walking into the shadow, but this one, they're walking out of the shadow into the light. So there's some sort of new information that's going to be revealed to you this week, I believe. It looks like happy news. It's certainly something that may have been hidden for a while and is starting to come to light now. And it may be that you need to trust your own antennae, of the information that you're getting. So expect miracles. Remember that only love is real. Miracles will occur naturally. Spirit has your back. So it looks like you might have some sort of divinely inspired, serendipitous, synchronistic moment that fills you sort of with childish wonder at how the universe all works together. So you might have one of those moments where you're like, oh my God, I can't even believe that this happened, you know. I'm getting also work on manifestation, work on making your thoughts real. I have my opinion on the law of attraction. The best way to make things manifest is to make a plan. So Gemini has very finely tuned antennae. They are not great at follow through on a plan because they're constantly getting information downloads. So, you know, just like you would on an adventure, you know, I don't necessarily think you would just hop into your car and drive. So make kind of like a skeleton of a plan for if whatever sort of divine signal you get this week or miraculous event that happens, if it's about manifestation or manifesting something that you've always dreamed of, there's a sentence, I think it was, I don't remember who it was. It said, if you take one step towards the gods, they take 10 steps towards you. You know, and that's kind of the message I get for you here this week. Okay, let's do Cancer. Aries Sun, Cancer Ascendant. What are these ones here for Aries Sun, Cancer Ascendant, week of April 27th, 2019. Aries Sun, Cancer Ascendant. What are those wands? Aries Sun, Cancer Ascendant, April 27th, 2019. Balance. Okay. Yes, and one can certainly feel off balance with 8 giant wands flying at them. So you see how all these people are kind of like miserable here with their arms crossed? They're not very happy. So I would say be careful of getting into this state. If you find yourself in this state, you can indulge it, but try and consciously spend time on the other side. So if you found that you had 2 days where you were really feeling the weight of bad relationships with colleagues, bad relationships with friends or at work, try and consciously get into the opposite energy. Do something that will help you balance out some of that unpleasantness. Now, Kim, what's the sword here for the Aries Sun, Cancer Ascendant? Aries Sun, Cancer Ascendant. What's the sword of discernment this week? April 27th, 2019. Going with the flow. I think you got this last week too. So it's that North Node in Cancer that's wherever it's acting up in your chart is probably making you feel overwhelmed and out of balance. And you know, the thing with the North Node is it kind of drags us kicking and screaming towards our destiny. But, you know, things have to happen to us. We have to get hit with wands in order to move and adjust ourselves and walk onto different paths. And that's what the whole North Node process is. So for those of you who have this going on either in your 12th house or your first house, it's trying to pull you to a more authentic iteration of yourself. It may be very uncomfortable at times. And so if you find yourself getting too stuck on one end of the spectrum, try and go to the other. You know, so, hold on, I'll take that top one. Downloads and understanding. The truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. So yes, as I said, this is you're going through a process of almost rebirth because of, or it's shifting the next 18 years, really. That North Node transit is a big one, particularly in your own sign or in the ascendant sign. So pay attention to these wands. Pay attention to where you get what provokes you off balance, okay? Because those are your triggers. And once you're able to identify your triggers, you can almost make a plan to avoid, or at least to respond, or just make them conscious. You know, if you know that every time someone says don't, that puts you into a bad mood, or that puts you into a different emotional state, then at least you can consciously rationalize it while it's happening, as opposed to being like, why does this keep happening to me? So pay attention to things to patterns that start to become obvious to you, because they will help you balance out. In the meantime, you're going to have to trust in the universe here. It's moving you with the waves into a better place. I know it's not always pleasant, but okay, so let's do Leo. Aries Sun, Leo Ascendant. What are the wands for the Aries Sun, Leo Ascendant for the week of April 27th, 2000? Oh, same card as Cancer. Interesting. Okay. Let's see what your sword is here. What is the sword for Aries Sun, Leo Ascendant? What is the sword of discernment for Aries Sun, Leo Ascendant? Week of April 27th, 2019. Aries Sun, Leo Ascendant. What's the sword of discernment to figure out this balance, this excess for this need to balance. Aries Sun, Leo Ascendant. I'm going to take the top one. The Creator. Nice. That's very Leo, is it not? Okay. This was also, I don't know, if you watched the weekly, you'll know that I said I got a very powerful sort of orange or yellow third chakra energy while I was meditating. And you know, these are both, this is a King of Wands energy here. So you have two kings underneath each other, which I'm sure the Leos love. And so, you know, what I say is when you get, I'll say the same thing I said to the Cancer Ascendant that got this too. You see these three people down here who are like really grumpy and like, that's, you know, they look like, that's not what I was promised, or they're unhappy about something. When and if you get into this space because there's too much coming at you, or you feel like you can't deal with it, or you're starting to feel overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that's going on, I'm being asked to tell you to remember that this is your natural abode, okay? You are the kings of the solar system, that you have the power of creation within you, this divine light at the base of your existence. And so when you find, give you the same exercise I said to the Cancer Ascendants, when you find yourself being triggered into this energy, pay attention to what's going on around it, because those are your triggers, and consciously try and move into this space. I mean, which would you rather be feeling? And the truth is that our energetic state at any moment in time is always a matter of our thoughts. You can think your way out of any situation. It's just a matter of moving your attention elsewhere and purposely walking into this. So think about things when you get into this kind of like grumpy space here. Think about things that make you feel powerful, that make you feel that fire in your belly, and that bring you back up from here to here. Okay, now let's get this last message here, the divine guidance for reflection. For the week of April 27th, 2019, for Aries Sun, Leo Ascendant. Divine reflection for Aries Sun, Leo Ascendant. Sorry. The Cloak of Wisdom. You already know the answer you seek. Trust what you know. So yes, that is asking to, those people don't look like they know everything, do they? Right? They're waiting for someone to change their situation for them. What these cards are asking is for you to become your master. Like, you know how to do this already. So don't be careful of getting into this space where you actually become your own worst enemy, and try and stay in this space as frequently as you can. Okay, let's do Virgo. Aries Sun, Virgo Ascendant. What are the ones coming at Aries Sun, Virgo Ascendant for the week of April 27th, 2019? What are the ones? Wisdom. Very nice. And it's, you know, there's all these little leaves there on these wands, and here you are. Yeah, so you are being blessed with wisdom. So you'll be getting a lot of like new thoughts coming from, I don't know why I'm being told to reshuffle these. A lot of new thoughts coming from above, new divine wisdom. traveling. That's interesting because that Eight of Wands is also a traveling card. So perhaps but this is also kind of like the Mountain, you know. Actually, this is the Eight of Wands because that's that. So you got two Eight of Wands. So there's a lot of, and this is kind of like wisdom-y cards. So this, you're the sign this week that most reflects the message in the weekly. There's also this kind of like mountain up here, which reminds me of the Hermit card in the tarot, which is the Virgo card. So I feel like you maybe go to the grandparents, go to the books, wherever you usually find your wisdom, internal, in nature. That's where you're going to be able to sort of figure out what this is. It's asking you to trust your own abilities, because if they're reflecting what's already up there. All right, let's get some divine guidance here. What's the divine reflection for Aries Sun, Virgo Ascendant? Aries Sun, Virgo Ascendant, week of April 27th, 2019. I'm going to just take one. This one. Okay, it's Cosmic Gateway. Your thoughts are magnetic and powerful. Miraculous changes are occurring. Okay, so you guys have kind of a cool reading this week. You'll be getting a lot of downloads from the universe, from sort of like the Akashic records. Pay a lot of attention to your thoughts, I think, this week, because there are going to be some great insights of wisdom in there for you. Pretty easy, this one. Okay, let's do Libra. Can I have what those wands are for Aries Sun, Libra Ascendant, April 27th, 2019? What are... Does that flip? The cards keep flipping today. No. Okay. What are those wands for Aries Sun, Libra Ascendant? Aries Sun, Libra Ascendant. What wands are coming at them this week? I'm going to take that. Acceptance. Got this a while for the... And you see all these like little flying cherries coming at her of love. Cherries of love. Okay, so that's very nice. Let's get what this sword is. What's the sword for Aries Sun, Libra Ascendant for the week of April 27th, 2019? What's their sword of discernment? Oh, integration. Okay, that's a great message. Integration, bringing all the pieces together, putting that piece of the pie back into itself, feeling whole again, getting this sort of download of love that allows you to feel whole once again. And let's get the reflection. Divine reflection for Aries Ascendant. Aries Sun, Libra Ascendant, April 27th, 2019. Trusting heaven. You're safe. Angels stand close. Surrender your concerns and allow a miracle to occur. Okay, so you may be worried, but it looks like, it's like all this energy sort of coming to both of them. There's this protective hand bringing the two pieces together, and integrating these two birds, you see? The swan and the hawk. So it's like the male and the female energy coming into union. A lot of balance. There's been a lot of messages of balance. in this reading. So, you know, I feel like you might actually not want to have the things coming at you, because you have this, it looks like what's going to be coming towards you are feelings of love and acceptance, and you want to, maybe what you want to do is stop cutting them out, actually stop blocking them, or understand, going back into understanding how to integrate this. And if you're feeling excuse me, because this is trust heaven, so there's some doubt here. So if you're feeling like you only have half, or you're missing something, it's kind of I guess the feeling that it's coming towards you. So trust heaven that the pieces that you might feel are missing, or this sense of self-love, it's available to you there if you want it. You may not be seeing it because you're focused on the swords. Or perhaps you're actually, maybe you're breaking up with someone so that you can feel whole again, because this person made you feel like you were not good enough, or not complete. And so actually in removing what's excess, you actually become complete. But what the universe says here is, you know, to trust the process, because it's working to bring these two aspects together into balance. So even though you may not understand the challenges that are currently happening, they are working to bring you this unity. That sounds very like twin flamey-ish. Even though I have my own opinion on those twin flames. We'll save that for another day. So, Aries Sun, Scorpio Ascendant. Aries Sun, Scorpio Ascendant. What are the wands coming at Aries Sun, Scorpio Ascendant? Perception. Scorpio already a very intuitive sign, very intuitive energy. Deals with, this is, you know, the doors of perception. So it may actually be breaking through information that comes in, may help break through a barrier in thought that's existed. What is this sword of discernment here for Aries Sun, Scorpio Ascendant? Aries Sun, Scorpio Ascendant. Patience. With the moon. So it's like things happen in their time. And so if you're not breaking through, like if you get all this information and you're still not able to understand how everything falls into place, or why all of this is happening, this asks, you know, it's the Seven of Pentacles. So it asks that there's a process that you know, this is actually quite like a fertility card. So, but things grow. It takes time for things to grow, just like it takes time for things to become clear. And these are all sort of very nature cards here. So, you know, I keep thinking about the seed turning into the tree, and the seed doesn't know that it has to die to become a tree. So, I think maybe as this transformation you know, there's a patience in the growth process. There's at some point, all will be clear. Let's see what the divine reflection is. There's a lot of feminine energy for the Scorpio Ascendant here, which is very different than the weekly reading, which had a lot of masculine energy. So also another message of balance. It's really about balance this week, you know, balance and discernment. Divine message for Aries Sun, Scorpio Ascendant. Week of April 27th, 2019. Infinite abundance. Obstacles are being removed. Spiritual support and connections are increasing. Okay. So yes, so this door is in the process of opening. This baby is in the process of growing. The moons are shifting and following cycles. So things are moving, even though perhaps it doesn't look like it, although, you know, they're coming in. And whatever these obstacles are being removed. So it seems to me like all will be clear shortly. Like whatever you're hoping to get clear on and that you've been waiting for an answer, it looks like it's coming in as these obstacles get removed. And the obstacles may be your impatience. And you need to apply a patient thought in order to wait for the things that no longer serve you fall away. And so to shift your perspective on what's happening, that the things that this impatience to get to where you are may actually be putting pressure on the situation, and that once you release the grasp on it and trying to figure out what it is and trying to push through that door, things will happen naturally. Okay, let's do Sagittarius. Aries Sun, Sagittarius Ascendant. What are the wands for our Aries Sun, Sagittarius Ascendant friends? April 27th, 2019. Impatience. Funny, I just got that for Scorpio. Got the opposite. This is a story about a guy who was waiting for the moon to bloom and he couldn't wait for it. So he ended up building his own. But in building his own, he ends up blocking the light of the moon that he was waiting for. So what's coming at you may be a lot of your own impatience. And you're waiting for a lot of these messages to come in or a lot of stuff to happen. Okay, and your sword is consciousness. So to be very conscious of your choices, of your actions, of how things can affect, you know, what happens to these wands? Why do they become four? How do they become four swords? What do those wands do? And instead of trying to make things happen without thinking about it, to actually put some very profound thought into it. What is the divine reflection for Aries Sun, Sagittarius Ascendant, please, for the week of April 27th, 2019? These figures look similar too. What do we have here? Divine order. Okay. Do what you feel is right. An important lesson is unfolding. That there is order in the chaos. However, when you act without consciousness, based on impatience, you can end up getting in your own way. So it's actually like if you may be causing these 8 wands when really you need to to take a moment to reflect about what the right thing to do is, what would be the healthy thing, what would be the wise thing, and to really put a little bit more thought into what next steps are. It does say an important lesson is unfolding, so it may be that actually you have to go through this kind of hard lesson learned in order to realize that it's best to perhaps weigh things before acting, or just let things unfold in their natural time instead of trying to make stuff happen. Okay, Capricorn. Aries Sun, Capricorn Ascendant. What are these wands? Okay, so that was we got this card from the reading. So this says you are having a lot of instinctive movements. What is the sword here? Experiencing is the Three of Wands. So there's something about venturing out into new territories, also because the Eight of Wands can be travel and moving to new heights and looking at things from a different perspective, and trying to understand and experience things, life lessons, relationships, friendships, works from a different level. And that what will guide you to that level is going to be your instincts. But that what you are living now is about helping you experience life from a different perspective, which is very much into that Four of Swords there also. May I have the divine reflection for Aries Sun, Capricorn Ascendant for the week of April 20. Whoop. All right, I'll take that. Divine healing. Honor your sensitivity. Retreat to recharge and heal. Your light can support others. Okay, so maybe you're a little bit, maybe you've been overworking. Your instinct has been to put in more effort because you're trying to get to another level. Maybe you have a promotion that you've been trying to work for. You're trying to push a relationship to another place. What it says is to honor your sensitivity. So pay attention to signals that you're getting from your body. Pay attention to signals from your energy, your self-talk. And if you've been pushing yourself too much, take a break. And that kind of keeps coming up again and again, that like we're all in kind of this stage where we're trying to push something into existence. And we need to just kind of take our hands off the wheel for a minute. Okay, let's do Aquarius. Aries Sun, Aquarius Ascendant. What are those wands? Impasse. Okay, so something may look like it's coming at you to hurt you, like all these things that are flying at you, but they're actually one of those, like, this is the card of God's protection sometimes comes through rejection. So if something is happening that you may not like, or you're not getting what you want, or it may actually be for your own good. What's the sword here in this sort of discernment for Sun, Aries Sun, Aquarius Rising for the week of April 27th, 2019. Aries Sun, Aquarius Ascendant, April 27th, 2019. Oop, just one. I'm going to take this one. All right. Inner voice. So this is the High Priestess. So, you know, those are two very powerful but two very different energies. This guy knows everything, like kind of the Aquarius way of knowing everything. This one knows everything, and also in kind of a Piscean way of knowing everything. So I think you have to try and blend your two approaches to knowledge. That yes, and this came out in the reading too, in the weekly. So this is yours is also very reflective of the weekly. Pay a strong attention to your intuition, but also strong attention to your earthbound knowledge, things that you have learned through experience. And just remember that sometimes things happen to protect you, that it's not sometimes getting hurt. Like if you were to get hit with all these wands, that wouldn't be pleasant. But sometimes, you know, maybe it was to move you onto a different path so that you didn't get hit by that car. So things like that, near misses, you know. Higher learning. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further progress. How's that? Amazing, right? It's literally these two cards. So you've got your Aquarian knowledge. It's time to dial up a little bit of this. A little bit more focus on your intuition, on following your gut instincts, in not being so lost in the material, but also understand that there is maybe a bigger sort of divine plan at work, and that not everything works out exactly the way we think it's going to, and sometimes that's actually a great thing. I was telling a story about one of my ex-boyfriends last night from college, who I hadn't seen for 13 years. And when I did see him, it was like, oh, thank goodness that didn't work out. Anyway, let's do Pisces. Aries Sun, Pisces Ascendant. What are those wands for the week of April 27th, 2019? Aries Sun, Pisces Ascendant. Aries Sun, Pisces Ascendant. Wisdom. Forget who else got this. I think it was Virgo. Oh, which would be crazy because it's the opposite sign. Love that. So you guys are on the same axis. What is the sword here for Aries Sun, Pisces Ascendant? Conditioning. Okay. So let me do the last one and then I'll put all the pieces together. This is a little bit similar in spirit to the one I got for the Leo. Okay, can I have the divine reflection for Aries Sun, Pisces Ascendant for the week of April 27th, 2019? Transcendence, rise up, honor your inner force. I love it. This is literally what I was about to say. Steps are being given, dance with the universe. Okay, so the Leo reading had kind of like an unhappy person and then this fiery fire inside. Now this is about a lion in sheep's clothing, no? And this is when you give away your power to try and be accepted by everyone else. And so we tend to like turn out our own powerful lights. And what this is asking is, you know, the Pisces is such a mystically tuned in sign that there's so much wisdom that you have and have to offer to the rest of the world that it would be a shame if, you know, it's kind of like let your freak flag fly kind of message, that whatever feels the most you, don't hide it to be palatable for the masses or for the people around you. It's kind of your time to shine, or time to bring that power that you have inside to be a lion amongst sheep. And I know that's not really a very Piscean energy. It tends to be a little bit more passive, but there's your forces in the wisdom, because being the last sign, you sort of have the knowledge of all the signs before you. So this power lies within that wisdom, and that's your gift of discernment, is that actually you carry this incredible bank of wisdom within you. Don't be afraid to express it when the opportunity comes. Okay? And it says dance with the universe. I don't know, I was thinking about that movie with Kevin Costner, Dances with Wolves. This thing kind of comes out because of Lord Shiva. Anyway, I just thought that I'd throw that out there if that means something to someone. Hope you enjoyed this. I will see you for the monthlies and the new moon report.